All right. So after 20 long months, the saga has concluded. Microsoft has come down and purchased Activision and freed the people from the tyranny that is Bobby Kotick. And there are a lot of people not happy about it. And we're going to get into it. Right now, we got with us Crowd Pleaser and the one and only Desert Eagle. I'm the Don, and this is Games Point Blank. And we're going to talk about this deal finally closing and the end of an era. All right, so today at the crack of dawn, the CMA sent out a tweet saying that they approved Microsoft's purchase of Activision. And then as soon as the stock bell rang, Microsoft announced that they completed the purchase of Activision. And then there was chaos in the streets, Twitter. You had people on both sides. You had the Microsoft people cheering, the Xbox people cheering. Yeah, this is finally over. You had the Sony people complaining, like, oh, it's going to be a monopoly. And oh, don't worry, by 2027, Microsoft is going to be out of the game. And it's like, these people don't know what they're talking about. What do you guys think about this whole situation?
I only have one thing to say about this, and this is my honest initial thought. I am tired of this goddamn saga that's been going on for 20 months now. News every day, it's coming, it's not, CMA, FDC, whoever the hell else wants to be included, throwing their name in the hat just to get a news article. I'm tired of it. I'm relieved just because it's over. We can finally move on from this, what seems to be bottleneck of news that we've had for the last 2 years. That was just awful. It was dragged out. We had big corporations involved. We had government agencies involved. Like, I'm literally done. Like, I just want to get back to the games. Finally, we can get back to the games. That's why I'm happy. Now we can start focusing on actual news.
You're right. It got dragged out for way too long. I mean, the CMA played a game that nobody anticipated. You know, they looked like they had nothing to worry about, and then all of a sudden they threw out that whole cloud debacle and dragged it out another 5 months. It made no sense at the time. It still doesn't make sense now. Ubisoft got the cloud streaming rights. Nobody cares except for Ubisoft. They're like, Ubisoft took no time to advertise, we're getting Activision's games. They think they're the ones who bought Activision. It's crazy out here. Ubisoft is wilding, the Sony ponies are crying, and Xbox is rejoicing, and we're about to get into a very interesting 2024 with this purchase.
This is how I see it. This has been the greatest wrestling storyline ever told. Up there with the Mega Powers imploding, the Ultimate Warrior's winning streak all the way up to the championship at WrestleMania 6. This is the Bloodline. This is Austin Rock. This is everything. This has all been the prelude to the WrestleMania of Sony versus Microsoft. I said it from the beginning. I was excited for this deal closing or getting blocked, either way, because all this was going to do was light a fire under Microsoft. Now, since they closed, the fire's burning already. They fought to make this happen. So now this got to light a fire under Sony, because they spent the last 2 years resting on their laurels, raising prices, not announcing games, and now Activision is going to be feeding Microsoft through the PS5 sales. This is going to be an incredible time, 2024, thanks to this deal closing. And we're finally going to see what Sony has up its sleeve, because they got no choice. They've got rid of your man, Jim Ryan, and now they got no choice but to fight. And I can't wait to see what they got.
Light a fire under Sony is right. Jim Ryan fired.
Jim Ryan was both the gift and the curse to this company. 2019, he came on as CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment right before the PS5 launched. PS4 was at an all-time high. He literally came in at the best possible time. And then if you think about it, They had an amazing launch, which was probably predestined. Right before Jim Ryan, the thing was already set. The plans were launched. The games were being developed. So what does this mean? This means actually once Jim Ryan started putting his hands on this generation, downhill from there. I'm pretty sure once 2022 came, those 3 years that were already planned prior to his arrival were wasted. And then he was just like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? My legacy is gonna be this, blocking this deal. And he didn't give a damn about what games was coming out. He didn't give a damn about any new games. He was just like, this deal is everything. If I could block this, I will be the Sony hero of all heroes. And guess where we are at the end of 2023? Sony has no idea what's happening. Fans have no idea what games are coming in the next year, 2 years. It's all a crap show in Sony right now. All of their live service games are flopping, and we only see trailers without even gameplay, and nobody cares. Bungie came in throwing all over the fans, saying you guys suck for live service games. It's really bad out here, and I'm telling you right now, Jim was at the center, and they knew it. They knew it. That's why they fired him, aka he retired, rode off into the sunset. And I, for one, am looking forward to the rest of this battle, because right now PS5's on the ropes. They're on the rope. This year was ugly for them. And Microsoft topping it off with this purchase, merger, acquisition, whatever you want to call it. The grass is greener. The sky is bluer. Everything is looking good for Microsoft right now. I really wonder what's going to happen with the PlayStation 5.
I mean, I can tell you what's going to happen. They're going to get Spider-Man next week. And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The last of the exclusives that went from a year plus to 3 months. Good looking, Jim Ryan. After that, Wolverine ? The
Last of Us 2 remake? right in time for season 2 of The Last of Us.
All right, so let's talk about what the purchase actually means for Xbox. Besides a boatload of money, they got the purchase of King included, the Candy Crush game. I personally never played it, but it's a phenomenon, probably the biggest of all mobile games. So they're going to get money from that. We got all the Blizzard games that are coming. We want them on Game Pass ASAP, especially Diablo 4. I think, the CMA and the FTC specifically made this all about Call of Duty, but in a lot of Xbox gamers' hearts, this was about getting Diablo on Game Pass, because there's a lot of people who didn't buy it, us included, because we knew what was coming and we want it ASAP.
They've been talking a lot about how Diablo 4 won't be in 2024, but that was Activision who said Diablo 4 won't be until 2024. Activision doesn't make that call anymore. So I think if it's not released at the start of season 2, which is next week, I think they're going to put it on Game Pass probably before the end of the year. Probably November is my guess. They don't have a big November game going into Game Pass that we know of. They have the Persona 5 Tactica, which is a spin-off. The Yakuza, the Like a Dragon spin-off game is going in there in November. You need one more big game, I think, because both of those are like side games. They're not a main entry or a mainline huge release. So putting Diablo 4 in there, which has lost momentum over the last 3 months, that'll be a big boost to the game itself, because it's a live game. You need players playing it, and it's going to be a big boost for Game Pass. You need subs.
That's an important thing you mentioned about the momentum Diablo 4 has lost. It had such hype when it came out. It came out at the end of, I believe, the summer drought this year. People wanted a brand new game, and that came and hit so fast. It was like a skyrocket. And then all of a sudden it got hit with the 1-2 punch. Baldur's Gate 3 came out, punched it right in the face with a right, and then Starfield came with the left hook, and Diablo went down fast. And it's still down recovering. The only thing that's gonna bring it back is Game Pass, because probably half of Xbox gamers are on Game Pass, and they're gonna jump on that like crazy. It's gonna get the player engagement that it needs desperately right now. especially if they time it after Starfield starts going down a bit. More gamers will be beating it, getting through their second playthrough, third, who knows, and then they're gonna need something else. Diablo 4 is gonna be right there. Hopefully, like the Don said, around Thanksgiving, that whole holiday season, make Diablo 4 on Game Pass. That's easy money, baby.
So I agree with the decision that Activision made to not release Diablo 4 on Game Pass this year, just because Diablo 4 is a huge seller and has been selling millions of copies since it launched earlier this year. I get the fact that Game Pass needs a boost, or it would boost Game Pass sales right now, but the game is super healthy. Contrary to popular belief, it's still about over or just under 1 million players daily, one of the top online games right now, and they're making billions off of transactions.
The only downside to them releasing their older catalog as of right now, according to what Microsoft said into Game Pass, is I don't think these older games are going to make as big a splash as people think. Like, who's going to be hyped to play 15-year-old Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 if that even gets on there? Who's going to be hyped to play 2009's Prototype? Who's going to be hyped for that? Put new stuff in there, man. Don't worry about these old games. That's not going to sell subscriptions. I know you want to drip-free things. Ain't nobody playing those games. And you'll find out in the telemetry. I wish that whoever thought this was a good idea just didn't. Because I don't think this is going to move the needle at all. We need new stuff. That's why I'm advocating for Diablo to be out this year in Game Pass. Because it takes new games, not 10, 15, even 20-year-old games coming out in the service.
Agreed. It's good for the gimmicks and the eye candy. Like, hey, you can now play every single Call of Duty ever made prior to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on Game Pass, and it's gonna bring in a few existing subscribers and say, sure, let's play Call of Duty 2 just for a game or two, or Modern Warfare 2, the original, just to feel the nostalgia. But I don't see these games making a dent in terms of keeping players playing it, especially like when you said, the Don, new games are going to come out, better games, or I should say flavor of the month games that people would want to play anyway. But this is a part of the issue, right? They now have this influx of Activision IPs that they can put into the servers. So they're going to be sprinkling these games in as the months go by. I don't see the incentive in just doing one whole dump of these, even if they're classics, one whole dump of them and just saying they're all available. I think they're going to trickle feed it just to give people a different taste every month and sprinkle in some top tier games alongside that. I think Diablo 4 specifically is in its own space, and that's probably why. But other games, I'm hoping they can start sprinkling in some games from recent times too. I just, like you said, it's just a very slim pickings time right now for both Microsoft and Sony. So it seems that, hey, we got them by the neck, let's just stomp on it and crush their soul now. But I just don't see the long-term goal of that happening.
I mean, I don't know either. That's what we're speculating. But you guys can let us know what you think would be a better strategy in the comments of this video. Until next time, game on.
If you liked our content, mash that like button. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.